Hello everyone, my name is B.O.B. and welcome to another Minecraft for Beginners video. And today we're here to talk about food. Look at all the tasty food, and we're going to take a closer look at each and every one of these. But first, there's a few things we got to go over. Now let's take a look at our health and our hunger bar. Now each of these are indicated by 10 little icons, and these little icons can be depleted in halves. So if we were to put numerical value to each of these bars, they would be 20. Now, a player's hunger can affect them in a couple of different ways, such as it can take away your ability to regenerate health if you start to get too hungry. It can take away your ability to sprint, and if you start to starve, you can actually take damage, and if you're playing on hard, you can actually die. Now, the unseen statistic in this equation is what's known as saturation, and your saturation basically determines how long your food will last before you start to get hungry. Each individual food has its own level of saturation, and we're going to take a look at all of those levels here in just a few minutes. Now take notice of the jittering effect that's happening to my hunger bar right now. That's an indicator that my saturation levels have depleted, and exhausting activities like sprinting and jumping, mining and fighting, this is going to cause me to get hungry. Here's a little demonstration. See, I've been eating cookies, and cookies are not a very well saturated food, so it's not actually going to last me very long. If I have myself a little sprint down these row of sets that I've built for this very video, you can see I won't even make it all the way to the end before I start to get hungry again. I've already lost half of little icon there. That means I'm at 19. Now I'm at 18. So on and so forth. Now I found myself a piece of steak, and as you can see, my hunger bar is no longer jittering. This is because steak is a very well saturated food. This means I can take part in exhausting activities like sprinting and fighting for much longer before the saturation depletes and I start to get hungry. See, I've run far enough to get lost, and I still haven't gotten hungry. I seriously did get lost. I had to go into creative and give myself a compass to find my way back. Now, as promised, we're going to take a closer look at all of these food items, and what we're going to look at is the numerical value of the hunger and saturation that is restored by each food item. I've broken them up into categories, and I'll pause a few seconds on each category, so if you want to look at any information closer than I cover it, you can always pause the video and read that. Now here we have our various fruits and vegetables of the game, and these can be picked up and eaten without any sort of preparation. Apples tend to be a good starter because you get them when the leaves of trees break, and, well, they do restore for hunger. However, with carrots restoring 3.6 saturation, that might actually be the better food source here. Now here we have our raw fish and our raw meats. Now, most of these should be cooked before you eat them, but in case that's not a possibility, your best options would be to go with raw pork, raw beef, or raw rabbit, as they all hold the same properties. Now these are some of the food items that can be eaten, but you probably shouldn't. As you can see, they do have hunger and saturation properties, but they also have some negative side effects. For example, a poisonous potato has a 60% chance of poisoning the player for 4 seconds. Rotten flesh has 80% chance of causing hunger, which causes you to get hungry faster. So it's not really doing you any good to eat it. Pufferfish? Let me just demonstrate pufferfish. Oh, it seems I'm feeling a bit peckish. Perhaps I'll have a little snack. Oh, that wasn't my cookies. That definitely was not my cookies. Now for the record, this won't actually kill you. It'll stop at half a heart or 1 point of health. But you're still poisoned for 60 seconds, so any food you might eat to regenerate health in the meantime, well, it's just going to take that health right back away from you. Next, we're going to look at our cooked foods, but first we're going to have a look at how we cook our foods. Of course, you have your furnace and your smoker, which works twice as fast as the furnace. Both of these require a fuel source. A campfire, however, does not require a fuel source, except for the little bit of coal or charcoal you might need to craft it. Another way to get cooked meats is to kill mobs with a fire aspect sword. And as you can see, it dropped cooked steak. Now here we have our cooked foods. You got your fish, your meat, potatoes, and kelp. Now, with kelp, you're best just turning it into blocks and using it as a fuel to cook these other foods. Uh, Fish, if you have a AFK fish farm, you probably got lots of it lying around. The salmon is your better option, as it holds, well, decent hunger and saturation properties. Chicken is also another one that's actually easily renewable because you can set up automatic chicken cookers and just have a chest that is continuously filling with cooked chicken that all you have to do is pick up every now and again. But of course, your best foods in this category are going to be your cooked pork chops and your steak, as their hunger and their saturation properties are clearly the highest. Now here we have our baked goods, or rather crafted goods, because you craft them on a crafting table. And as you can see, your bread is the best of the bunch. But cake has its own unique properties, as, well, it has to be placed into the world in order to eat it. It has 7 slices of it, so you can basically take 7 bites of it, and each of those 7 bites restore the hunger and saturation properties as shown. Cake also has no eating animation, so this might come in handy on laggy servers where that eating animation is actually slowing things down. Now, as I pointed out in my previous video about redstone, you can actually pull a comparator signal out of a cake. The cake on the top here is a full cake that is 7 slices, and the redstone signal will reach 14 blocks. The cake on the bottom is only 1 slice, and that redstone signal reaches 2 blocks. So each slice of cake is basically worth, well, 2 blocks of redstone signal. Now here we have the stews of the game, which are also crafted on a crafting table, and you'll need a bowl for each of them. The trouble with these are they're not stackable, so you can only carry so many with you, and then even after you consume them, it leaves a bowl in your inventory. Rabbit stew is a decent food source when you consider its hunger and saturation properties, but still, the idea of a food that isn't stackable just doesn't seem all that efficient to me. Now this one isn't actually a food item, and it holds no hunger or saturation properties, but it does have one unique property, that it removes status effects, like the poison you saw from the pufferfish earlier, or your bad omen effect from killing pillager captains, or your mining fatigue that you'll get from elder guardians while raiding ocean monuments. Now, you can get milk by using a bucket to milk a cow, or a mushroom. If you do the same thing with a bowl and a mushroom, you actually get mushroom stew. Now, in a category of its own, we have chorus fruit. Chorus fruit only grows naturally in the end, and it does have hunger and saturation properties, but they're not great. What it does do that is unique is teleport you to random spots. From my research, I believe it can be anywhere up to 32 blocks from where you were standing when you ate the fruit. Now here we have our superfoods, and as you can see, as far as hunger and saturation, of the 3, carrots are your best option, and they're actually the cheapest of the 3, so late game with a good gold farm, golden carrots are honestly the way to go for a regular food source. These other ones, well, they're a bit more expensive to make, but they do hold some special properties which may come in handy. Golden apple can give you health regen 2 for 5 seconds and absorption for 2 minutes, which basically gives a little, a few heart buffer to your health bar. Now, the enchanted apples, well, they can give you health regen 2 for 20 seconds, absorption 4 for 2 minutes, which basically gives you a second health bar, resistance for 5 minutes, damage resistance, and fire resistance for 5 minutes. So, they're awesome, but, 8 gold blocks and an apple, they're expensive. And my friends, that should cover just about everything here. But if there is anything that I missed, as always in these videos, comments are always appreciated about those things, because, these are videos for beginners. We want to let them know about that information. I hope you found this video informative, and if you did enjoy this video, please remember to hit the like button. If you're interested in seeing more from me, consider hitting that subscribe button, maybe that notification bell. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching, and I want to wish you all a wonderful day. I'm flying.